Welcome back to the MSI group stage. Sylas is one of the most important picks in the game right now, and we've seen players succeed and fail with him so far at MSI. Ahead of Flash Wolves versus G2, we're going to look closer at how you can master the Unshackled and what he brings to the team as a champion. Now, Raz, when I think Sylas, two words pop into my mind immediately: flexibility and creativity. And so with those two concepts, two key words in mind, I want to start running through all things Sylas, starting with the room pages.
There's a lot you can go towards. I love the fact that we're hitting flexibility because immediately what we've seen in the mid lane has been Aftershock, Electrocute, even Conquerors coming out of caps. And then if he finds himself in the top lane, as we've been seeing yesterday off of Con, Grasping the Undying is the choice that you would have. But moving in towards the Aftershock, because that's far more used frequently in the mid lane, where you're getting, shield bash, extra bit of damage you're getting once you use your E, Abscond, and Abduct. And then on top of that, the bone plating. Because the one thing this Flex champion doesn't have that we're seeing from Jace, Ryze, is the lane dominance, the ability to trade. So you're seeing if he goes through in the top lane, much like yesterday, is that, get stomped in lane based off the Jace. So it really comes down to the teams and how they can pick around it, and at the same time, control wars. The jungler needs to have to know how to really deal the early game.
Right, I think it's quite obvious based on what we saw yesterday in top lane as well as today in the mid lane that Sylas, he's either going to be abused or he needs a lot of attention to help get him through those early levels. But it's what he achieves once he gets out of this laning phase that makes him such a strong pick.
Now, I love the fact that we're showcasing here, Caps' ability to work with Jankos, because Jankos here constantly throwing in the Olaf, the early damage to be able to help him out early on in these games. The control wars to be able to nail down where the enemy jungler is, protect him early on, because he doesn't need to nail a kill. What he does need is to be able to get out of the early laning phase. Kind of reminds me of Echo in the sense that finds himself on side lane. This was beautiful from Caps, because then we start to talk about the creativity, understanding what the enemy team composition has. The Akali ultimate finds your way to get in, the Galio ultimate to find your way to defend your own composition, or you can dive in a little bit more far forward and then find your way right back out. It really kind of hones your focus in on the player, because Caps, when he has this, far more intelligent with its use.
Oh, without a doubt. Just in this replay alone, as you mentioned, we saw the Sejuani ult grabbed off the get-go. That helps with the CC lock down the fight, developing the fight in general. You follow that up with the intelligent Galio usage to get out of the fight of all things. But that's just one example of many so far that we've seen from the successful Sylas games here at MSI about how he can be utilized beyond that about level 11 mark.
Exactly. So for me, when we talk about flex picks, when we talk about the Jace, the Ryze, we haven't seen the Cassiopeia, and the Nautilus, a lot of those are so easily draftable because you can just talk about the lane strength. Once you hit level 11, once you get to level 16, and you have these quick usage of ultimate, 8 seconds, where you're just you scale so easily into the late game. I love the champion and what you can do with it, but you really have to put in that care and love that G2 has so far.
I think the lesson to be learned here is that unlike some of the other flex picks, Jace or Ryze, who are dominant from the get-go and completely take over a game, Sylas needs that extra bit of attention, but if you give it to him and you have a player who's worth supporting on that champion, he can absolutely determine a game in your favor. We'll see if Sylas rather can conquer the Rift yet again as we leave it to Freak, Kobe, and Papa Smithy for Flash Wolves versus G2.
Thank you very much, Dash and Raz. And one final chance to see if Sylas will be shackled in this champion select, or if he will run rampant, and instead a different chain wielder will be dropped off the face of the Rift. So we are here for the 5th game of the day. Flash Wolves 1 and 2, their sole win against Fongbu Buffalo. G2 Esports looking like a top-tier team in this tournament, hoping to take care of business against Flash Wolves here.
And it looks like they're going with the Ryze. With Akali and Sylas both still available, what will G2 opt into? They could actually get both of these flexible picks.
Definitely the Sylas will be locked in very quickly. I want to make note that this was Ryze left open in a game with G2. I believe they're the best Ryze team in the world, both creative with the ultimate and also it being absolute comfort for Wunder and Cap. So I think you have to take it first pick, even though it hasn't been rated first pick in many drafts.
Well, waiting to see now what's going to come out alongside this one. Typically, teams will wait a very long time to show their second solo lanes. That Wunder and Caps both have equal opportunity to play it. A quick Jarvan pickup here now for Flash Wolves for some aggressive plays, for some engage. We're going to probably look at follow-up team fight then out of this squad.
Yeah, and if you're facing the team fight, they already have the Tahm Kench on the side of G2, so there are a lot of options with the Abyssal Voyage. moving around the map for later. Let's see if Flash Wolves answer it with a little bit of semi-global themselves.
Yeah, and more follow-up team fight, right? Jarvan Galio, we've seen this so much over the last year and a half or so. This is the bog standard. Let's dive into backline, lock the Mikyx, follow up with the knock-up into the taunt, and try to kill some backliners.
And it's a duo of picks, but it's not a bot lane duo, and they'll have to absorb some bot lane AD carry bans, you would imagine. G2, when they last picked the Tahm Kench, they ended up pivoting, going towards something a bit different in the bot lane. That was the Neeko on the day. This time it's going to be the Ezreal, so a much more standard duo one we just saw in our previous series, and we'll see how many bot lane carries will be taken out. Betty's famous Kalista first on the menu.
Yeah, as SKT put on display in the last game, the Tahm Kench and Ezreal required 0 jungle attention the entire game. Extremely safe, and that allows you to put so much into these solo lanes that have been so strong for G2 in setting up multiple roams and setting up their control of the map towards the mid game.
Well, a couple of junglers who might be taking up some of that help and getting the solo laners ahead, taken off the table here. Olaf dropped off. We know that there's still one more top or mid to grab for Flash Wolves, one more for G2 as well, and Flash Wolves can finally answer a little bit when that finally comes through as you see a couple of marksman bans, of course, Kai'Sa and Kalista off the table. Now waiting what the final Flash Wolves ban will be. What G2 will pick up afterwards is Karthus dropped off as a Jankos pick.
And with that comment you made about the Ezreal Tahm Kench not needing resources, Flash was intuited, okay, maybe the Karthus will just farm rather than just going for a topside jungler. Like, for example, the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin, though, will be the eventual lock-in, so hard to say what the first call would have been. There is always concerns with Karthus that you end up with 3 laners or a jungler and 2 soul laners that do magic damage, so this is actually pretty clean, and we get an oldie but a goodie, the Jankos Lee Sin.
Meanwhile, Flash Wolves looking like they want to add some more team fight to the composition here. Orianna ball on top of the Jarvan jumping with the Galio on his back. Now that is a huge wombo combo.
I believe this looks like something like a team fight comp seems to be what you want to do.
Oh,
here.
really?
Sivir might line up well alongside that one, but we'll see what actually comes through here with this one. Flash Wolves, 8 seconds to go. Coach Sweet is going to decide that Lucian is the grab here, and an aggressive bottom lane is going to be what they want.
They want something that in the 2v2, you catch the right person, maybe you can force a kill. Sivir would have been purely on the farming side.
Yeah.
Now the answer is, with a lot of options here, because you could lane the Sylas in either mid or top, given that you have full information, with the matchups there can definitely grin and bear through the Orianna trade damage in the mid. The Neeko, which we know is oh so flexible on the G2 side, will be the final lock.
All right, I'm still not sure exactly, based on the matchup, of course, what they think is better, but Neeko and Sylas going to be the 2 solo laners here. Ezreal, I think, 99.9% is going to be what Perkz plays here on this one, and we'll see who they want to fight up against better. Ryze top, Orianna mid, and looks like it's Neeko to battle the Ryze and Sylas to battle Orianna.
It's a matchup I've watched a couple of times in the LCK. It's one where, just like a Gnar, you want to try to take down the Ryze. I think you have to go aggressive on Ryze to make this matchup work, because we're expecting on-hit build coming in from Wunder. You can go AP to try to push, but on-hit is the one that really kind of sticks the landing over the course of the early to mid-game transition. So very interested to see, once we hit the game, the rune choice coming through from Hanabi.
And that 2v2 on the top side can definitely go the way of the Jarvan and Ryze. Rune Prison into Jarvan knockup could turn that entire game plan right back around on them. So tracking the enemy junglers is going to be of the utmost importance in this game.
And as long as you land the Rune Prison, even if she does turn invisible, the knockup's still going to come in afterwards.
It's
all skill
over.
shots anyway. Almost certainly will die as a result. So this could be very spicy. We might see that top lane pressure like we just saw in the previous game. Flash Wolves on the back foot here, yet they have never, ever missed the top 4 at MSI across all the years they have gone. This would be the first they missed, looking to pick up a win against G2, who has been impressive so far, has been a great pride of Europe here at this tournament, and Mikyx seems to be able to keep playing with the roster. Let's see him get in the game. We are on to the Rift here for game number 5. Flash Wolves at 1 and 2, G2 at 2 and 1, but they have only lost to what looks like the strongest team in the tournament in Invictus Gaming. And it's a double round robin. Lots of games still here to play. No one should be disappointed with the first 3 or 4 games results. There is lots to still do and prove and improve upon.
G2 certainly looking fearsome so far in this tournament, and Caps on Sylas was just on display earlier today versus Team Liquid. With a little bit of attention from Jankos, he was able to demolish the team later on.
And G2 have a comp that would really fit them, even if it was the same G2 lineup at Worlds 2018. This is the quintessential 1-3-1 comp coming from G2, wanting to attack those side lanes as the game goes on. And the moment you see Galio, Jarvan, and Orianna, like Freak so simply put, it's a teamfight comp through and through on the side of Flash Wolves.
Yeah, like you're saying though, G2 drafting so many answers for that type of composition. Perkz on Ezreal with Mikyx on Tahm Kench here with the Abyssal Voyage being able to lend more threat to a 1-3-1 style of play. And then Jankos having the kickback here on Lee Sin is a huge disengage.
Look at the little thing that happened right there as Rather walked down to the ward that was revealed to leech experience for that ward kill. This tells me normally in a solo lane, you have to kill the entire first wave plus something else to get level 2. Instead, if you share an award XP, it's just the first wave. We knew Caps got XP himself on a single ward, so it's going to be level 2 a bit early. It shouldn't mean too much because they'll get the same XP.
Caps went down for a late ward also to try to help Jankos with his jungle pathing, so a lot of different agencies going on. There is that level 2 already, as you mentioned, Freak. In the bot lane, right now, Perkz and Mickey happy to give up the push to Flash Wolves.
Just getting some farm under the turret as Perkz stacks up his mana flow band, and we wait to see what else comes in here. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by just how well Mikyx and Perkz are playing. They've gotten 2 or 3 duo kills in lane just across this tournament. They have been actually dominant as a duo, I would say, overall. And we knew they were good, but to actually step up so well has been impressive.
All right, we said we were going to track these junglers early on, and Bugi on the Jarvan has gone red buff straight to top side. If you get that Rune Prison knock-up!
Rune Prison and a knock-up, and the clone goes the other direction. Not a way out for Wunder at an early first blood at 2 minutes and 30 for Bugi.
Exactly.
That was spot on the ward there, Kobe. That was the big moment. The deep ward put down by Caps at level 1 didn't spot him, but now Jankos is lying in wait.
Has more mana, can do some damage right here. Bugi gonna try to flag and drag over the wall, followed up by the Q, and Caps might come in for a little bit more as well. Look at the health bar slowly flags in, gets the Kingslayer and the shield and gets right back out. What a great trade kill.
Yeah, that's also red buff now on Caps for Sylas. Also going to help him heal back up when he backs away. This is so big for G2. They took a very, very terrible opening to the game in their Neeko getting destroyed here. As we talked about in Champion Select, as long as you have the point-and-click Rune Prison, it makes Jarvan's job so easy. You guarantee that combo. They get the early kill. The minion wave still pushing in his favor, but Jankos doesn't let it sit at that. Lies in wait at the Scuttle Crab. He sets up the kill for Caps, and once again, this is Caps Sylas with early money.
And what I want the viewers to appreciate is not just the early money being centered onto the oh-so-scary Sylas from Caps. Think about what was gained in those ganks. A kill topside, first blood gold, but no flash is used by Wunder, but then the red buff coming in, the good back timing coming in for the Sylas as well. The bonus objectives go the way of G2.
We can definitely talk up what Flash Wolves got out of it in that early tier for Ryze. Hanabi is the guy that they want early money onto, right? To back up your point, Hanabi has been one that has gotten more resources and more of Flash Wolves' focus since the changes to this team. So he's the one that they should be focusing on, and Ryze can be an answer in that side lane, even if they have to deal with it. But it looks like jungle attention again.
They've got a minor root. The Q's gonna land plenty of damage here. The Rune Prison and the shield, though. Force the flash trap, but Wunder has the auto attack, and Jankos finds his second successful gank.
Every time we come up with a story here for Flash Wolves, Jankos answers it again. The Lee Sin is on fire, extremely active in the early game and helping out those solos as expected.
Usually it's the Midas touch, some is the Midas foot coming through from this Lee Sin. Jankos, everything he's touching is turning to gold. Not quite the first blood king this time, but he is the king of the jungle.
Honestly, yeah, that's the more ideal situation. Him setting up the kills for his solo laners and them catching in. We get a nice little freeze frame there of reenactment of Jankos chasing down Jarvan.
The moment right before the Doom flag and dug over the wall into the Q follow, and we all saw that one play out. So look at this, G2, 800 gold ahead, and I think even fortunate that the kills were given over.
2019 MSI colorized here. Jankos carnivorous jungler.
Great minds think alike. I was going right there as well, Kobe. Loving it. Jankos loving his life. He had a really kind of bubbly interview with ShiauC earlier in the broadcast. He's definitely feeling it, and he can be a confidence player right now, sky high.
Once again, 500 gold lead for G2 Esports, and you're seeing the Wit's End being rushed very early. Wunder has the components right now already. It's going to be even harder to be knocked down by this Ryze, as he's got the durability to handle most of this one. Tries for the root, not going to get that one just yet. And overall, the favorites now looking very good in this tournament.
And it should be noted that Wunder has much more build path flexibility than the Ryze, who needs to build his tiers and work into the Seraph's Embrace, and from there, because of that, Wunder can attack both solo lanes by building a Wit's End and stacking up that magic resist. And the on-hit damage at some point will be enough to force Ryze under a turret into early recalls to try to contest with the Neeko in the side lane. And if enough gold goes onto Sylas, who we should note has gone Conqueror for extended brawls, then he may be able to answer the Ryze, usually impervious in the side lane.
Yep, here we go. They're going to focus on the top side. Caps is level 6 on the Sylas, but Jankos sits on a ward, so Flash Wolves know that this is coming.
You see Hanabi coming right back in as he sees the Lucian drop off the ward, but yeah, pretty trademark G2 play right there. Caps getting the push, roaming up the top side, trying to find one of his lanes to put ahead. So frequently it has been Wunder. Think back to the win over SKT. It was all the pressure they gave Wunder's Jace. Similar ranged auto attacker they're putting pressure on right now, and his lane going very well at 50 to 36 CS.
And we just saw what is, to me, one of the funnier ults that Sylas could steal is whenever you get the Orianna ultimate, you can go do a sombrero ult, but you don't get to move it around much, so it's mostly for those all-ins trying to get the extra pull back there.
And I want people to note there was actually really nothing purchased on the back. It was a forced back on the Orianna, who usually wants to wait to 6 minutes, teleport back in, and then lane again till that TP is back up. Nothing doing there, and no interrupt awkwardly on that back.
I'll talk a bit late. I don't know if Bugi wanted to burn any of his E or Q cooldowns in case the trade came back and is without an escape. So tried to auto attack, couldn't quite get it there. At least not in time to get through the recall immunity, and whatever, no harm, no foul, but it's 1,500 gold putting G2 ahead as they've gotten farm in a lot of places right now. And now round 2 in the bottom lane as Betty takes a couple of shots. Perkz and Co still doing pretty well in this lane, up against the Lucian, up in farm.
Meanwhile, keeping track of these junglers, Jankos is actually now making his way down to the bottom side. He is level 6 with access to the Dragon Kick, and he continues going for these invades on the Flash Wolves. Red buff started up by himself, and Bugi's going to trade.
Opting into the trade, like you mentioned, a level under, no completed Cinderhulk. Both teams had vision around the area. Jankos had the deep vision, but not, of course, spotting the ward that saw him come in. So it is full information to Flash Wolves, and I agree with their dissemination, given that Jankos is so large already.
He's got enough of the Warhammer right now, gonna go for the quick Mountain Drake. 8 minutes and change in. This will be helpful in the mid to late game, and gonna plow down some turrets as well. It's gonna take a while. Mountain Drake is the tankiest, but looks like there's gonna be no contest, and eventually that will go over cleanly. Rather grabs the blue. So far, everything looks fine.
I do really enjoy watching, successful uses of champions like Lee Sin in the early game, because, a lot of the power of the champion in actual just straight up 1v1 dueling was taken out, and so much of it is about the information and the mobility that you have, the choices that you make with it. These advantages that he's gotten for the team have been with smart choices. Setting up the rush gank there by the Scuttle Crab, to get the first kill for Caps, and then returning to the top side with the extra dash to set up Wunder as well.
And I love that point, Ko, because when it comes to ranking junglers in tier lists, it's always Lee Sin kind of around an A and B tier, but there's always that bracket or that asterisk of if you're a Lee Sin main, suddenly it jumps up, because what the champion can be is all-encompassing, but in those Lee Sin losses, you kind of pigeonhole on what it isn't.
That's why so many people love the champion. It has a very high skill cap and allows for a lot of flexibility.
Definitely flexible, and Jankos already found himself 2 kills for the squad and given them over to his solo lanes. Caps and Wunder have been, I would say, the big carries for G2, the ones most standing out for the squad. A lot of good players on that roster, so they are able to keep pushing forward. And the goal lead just keeps growing. Like, without any of their kills or turrets falling, it's now 2,000 almost, putting G2 ahead. They continue to excel in these lanes, finding plates and finding CS leads.
And that's exactly what you want when you're running a 1-3-1 composition like this. You want to get the early lead so you can pressure the towers and continue to spread the map. But let's remember what Flash Wolves are keeping in mind. Their big combination of ultimates. Now Galio's level 6, so they can actually try and bring the synergies of their champions together. That's what we need to see from this team if they're going to pull a win.
This is a bit of a cheeky start of the Rift Herald on the top side, basically off spawn. There's already been a lane swap, and Perkz is in the top lane. Sorry, just the impersonation there. The Neeko's there. That was a very easy one.
Gotcha!
There's been no rotational power here, but Jankos will not want to give up the Rift Herald, given it's around a strong side for G2.
And indeed, they're going to push Bugi off that right away. Puts a control ward down. They're going to fight 2-on-2 with the vision, but Flash Wolves going to get the better of that. Stun comes in, though. Caps wants his fight. Does have the dunk, comes in. Shockwave to follow up, though. And the 2-on-2 continues. Health bar's quite low, though. Caps running out of health, and they have the damage. He flashes, but he's got the wrong way on the map, and he's going to drop down as well. They're not going to land a double kill in for rather. That fight goes to Flash Wolves.
Caps punished so heavily for his hubris there, but Perkz and Mikyx are trying to answer. Here comes ShiauC.
Oh, and he stunts himself onto the wall, gets a talk, gets a bit of health, and he's going to go right into that one and roam warp to safety. Nice play by Hanabi getting over to the wall and getting that edge onto his teammate.
So many times these aggressive plays, when they don't work out, you look so foolish. Caps is the one that starts this play out. 1v2, Jankos is there a little bit behind, and a couple seconds later means that they actually lose the initial duel.
And to me, he was playing to his keys. And remember, he's a conqueror. Sylas coming in, so he thinks he can, in an extended brawl, out-sustain and use all of his abilities, but the cooldowns are still relevant, and as it goes on, he's focused down.
Biggest thing there, you mentioned focus, is the lack of focus from G2. They were on both separate targets there. Jankos kicking Jarvan out the back while Caps staying on the Orianna, and if you split DPS in a 2v2, then the team that focuses is going to get the first kill, you're going to get the triumph heal, and you're going to get the win.
Exactly. Both Flash Wolves players at 15% by the time the first kill came through. That's on one target. It's for sure one dead, and as you mentioned, the heal, I think it would have gone differently. So, mechanical, slight misstep there, but it means Flash Wolves are answering back. They bring the gold to within 1,000. They get those kills on the Rather. It means he starts to answer pretty well in the matchup, up 30 gold individually over Cap, so finally a place to move in that mid lane.
I'm actually liking the spellbook that we're seeing so much more on all these different mages, by the way, in mid lane. It's a small thing that you mentioned there with heals and being able to switch these spells around, but in clutch fights, it has been a determining factor that has really grown on me over the course of this tournament.
And another swap that came about because of the earlier access to back timers and hitting the map because they didn't get any deaths, they picked up the kills on the side of Flash Wolves, was they were the ones set up the lanes to get the Rift Herald. So the Rift Herald was actually gained purely from winning that 2v2 around the top side.
There's still a minute to go to drop that Herald somewhere useful and give another donation of 300 or so gold via plates to one of those other players. It's going to be summoned into that mid lane right now. He shouldn't be spotted, and there will not be CC putting him down. So rather, feeling comfortable with the jungler behind him, could get some gold in mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like Jankos is lying in wait around the fog of war here, but they usher Shelly up to the turret long enough to get the charge off and cash in.
And of course, it was an uninjured turret, so actually only one plate went down. The next one very low on health, but not dropped just yet. Meanwhile, G2's duo, they've been looking good so far, 15 CS up and getting a lot of pressure in this top side, knocking one down themselves. Betty, that half HP killing, not going to do a whole lot. Trades ults, gets away from Ezreal, stays alive there.
Yeah, Perkz giving as good as he got in this one, and if Betty did not sidestep that ultimate, then it would have been Jankos also looking to collapse on the play. So many wards, though, have been placed on the top side since there was a lot of this early action, and Flash Wolves are stabilizing here. Everyone needs to keep in mind the impact that you can have when you bring these ultimates together. There is a first item completion, Ludens on Rather on the Orianna, and now it's a level 2 ultimate. Currently, though, we got the Cloud Drake.
The fake Lucian, I like it.
Cloud Drake started up here, and nobody's going to go in and try and contest it.
Easy smite over the wall he goes, and that's, I would argue, an overall better Drake for League of Legends. And the move speed is especially really useful when you are playing different compositions. The 1-3-1 wants to get the side lane, then back. The 5-on-5 needs to just clear the wave and then rejoin the team, and doing that 9% faster with the extra move speed out of combat. Definitely going to be meaningful here. And so, as the wards get cleared back and forth, we can wait to see when those compositions and their relative sort of power spikes come online.
And as we come into 15 minutes, kind of the awesome thing we've been granted watching on in this particular game is we get to see an examination of the point that's been brought up a couple of times about G2 this tournament. Yes, they can explode teams in the early game, but it's their understanding of how to play these 1-3-1 comps there and understanding how to play the mid to late game that set them apart from some of the other teams, especially in Europe, compared to Flash Wolves, whose bread and butter is the team fight. So both teams are playing comps that they know and love. G2, they don't have an immense gold lead to trade upon in this game. Their execution is what we'll be able to judge in kind of a scientific manner.
Team fight execution going to be the name of the game here for Flash Wolves, and one of the big stories coming in was the fact that, well, hold on, we have a hot potential fight here. Over the wall they go, and they are going to be looking for the battle, looking for the taunt, and he's going to flash, but only find the one who cleanses out right away. Mikyx, though, still running and not going to get caught out for much more, so great escape there. G2 lose only a cleanse.
Yeah, and that is in exchange for a flash, so that's heavily in favor of G2. No flash on the Galio removes a lot of that surprise factor and the big part of their AoE. Meanwhile, down bottom side, the cost is Wunder on the completed Wits End Neeko taking down the turret.
And that's going to be music to the ears of G2 fans. Every time they hear Meanwhile at the ranch, they know they're going to be getting advanced around the map. But in the mid lane,
Stun, shotgun comes in with a kick onto the side, has barrier though, keeps himself alive. There's a dunk flashed away by Cat's gonna stay alive, in comes Galio, knocking only the minions down and picks up an ult for the Jarvan himself. They're gonna still trade blows back and forth in this mid lane, but everyone healthy on the sides of both halves.
Keeping track of those teleports is critical. That was Betty and Hanabi both using theirs, as well as Wunder on the side of G2. So it's only the mid laners that are left, and then taking into account the ultimates of Galio and Tahm Kench.
6 TPs and 2 semi-global ultimates. There's a lot of TPs.
It's a long list.
You're going to have to do a lot of bookkeeping here, whichever team you're on.
Who can be aware and keeping track of that, especially when the teams want different things, going to be important. Jankos trading blows with Bugi, but not going to follow through much longer. Earlier we talked about teamfight execution being important. One of the things for Flash Wolves is they lost so many of their longtime players, and it's now a mixed language team. You've got Rather coming over just recently, still actually on loan, technically a part of Griffin to a certain degree, and Bugi, a Korean player himself who spent 2 splits in Japan, now 2 splits over in the LMS. Okay, he's more used to playing mixed language teams, but they're still not natives, and it is always a little bit harder to make those comms work.
And Bugi definitely is the point man that has to start off the Flash Wolves win condition. The full tank Jarvan jumping in, Cataclysm with the Orianna ball, with the Galio. That's how they want to bring this all together. So their coordination and their communication, with one of these newer players is going to be critical in their success.
And now another fight in the bottom side, but look how much more damage Wunder has. Pops the Seraph's shield as well.
Yeah, and because he has got the Wits End and the access to the healing, below 50%, even when he gets that low, there's still a lot of safety in it.
And that's what we were alluding to, though. Given the builds that Ryze is kind of on a bound to, when you hit item points like this, and Wunder doesn't even have a boots item, let alone 3 boots. He has 2 full-on offensive items. There's just no way for Hanabi to stand his ground against Wunder at 18 minutes. And while that affects the health bars in a 1v1, it also affects the map state around it, because both teams are clear on this reality.
Too happy to keep playing these side lanes and getting their incremental advantages in each one of these spots as the duo lane comes down to the mid side. It's going to be a quick recall out of the Orianna here as Rather's going to have to answer one of these pretty soon. As top spot to be pressured out by Caps. He's got plenty of wave clear himself. Mikyx up to half HP, has to come away.
Remember, there's no teleport on Caps right now, so Flash Wolves technically do have the 1 extra answer with Rather on the Orianna, and they're sending Rather up top side to deal with that minion wave that Caps just pushed in. So right now in this small window where they're getting the recall off, they do have to be careful about that forced initiation.
But the setup right now is so precise, and it needs to be from Flash Wolves. With the comp they have, where they say, we win in group team fights, they only happen around an objective G2 has to fight around. Now, Infernal falls upon that purview. They want to invade this Infernal deck as fast as possible, push out 1 wave, draw up the Orianna, and make G2 come to them.
And Orianna needs to channel the teleport early if the fight's going to happen. Lee Sin goes in.
Great E by ShiauC. Gets out of the road, and Jankos can only kick him backwards. That was well played. stays alive here. A Lucian ult down. Here's the TP as G2 have already come down to fight for this one. Infernal Drake getting lower though. Smite fight comes in. What a pickup for Bugi. That's a great steal. And now this could be a 5-on-5. Where does G2 stand? Where does a shockwave go? Nice true shot barrage gets Betty low. And Zonia's for Bugi. Stays alive. Realm Warp. Will it reach him? Doesn't necessarily need it, but does get away. That was clean on all fronts. Flash Wolves come out ahead.
We had eyes on Bugi, one of the newer guys on the team, and he comes up huge, stealing the Infernal Drake and getting out after the stopwatch.
And that means the team fight never happens and they get an advantage, which should almost never happen. In games like this, the map state on anything other than 5v5 should suit the team that has the beneficial side laners who are pushing up. So getting that steal and getting out clean means that it wasn't even about team fight execution, it was just a smite button that went the way of Bugi.
Very nice stuff, though, and you can see 1-1 and 2, a pretty solid scoreline there. We get the slow motion version right over the wall, 400 health on that one.
That's just barely in range as well.
Yeah.
Smite range only slightly longer than that. Really, really clean stuff from Bugi, but also a little bit of luck in all of those.
But you need a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck sometimes, and you know, Kobe and I were talking about how their setup was a bit late. We never saw that early TP from the Orianna to group. They hadn't done their due diligence around wards. Flash Wolves hadn't set themselves up to take the Drake. It seemed like it would be a clean G2 take, so stealing it there is pretty big in the grand story of this game.
That's one of the best feelings as a jungler. Plus the fact that he was able to get out afterwards, nullifying the Neeko ultimate. Definitely a big moment for one of the guys on the teams that has received a lot of criticism over the tournament.
Yeah, he'd been playing a little bit weaker so far at MSI, and Flash Wolves maybe playing a bit below expectation, maybe 2 expectations. People did think they were going to be weaker with a lot of their players leaving to the LPL earlier this year, but hoping to keep up and with what they were doing in the golden ages before, when they would always make the semifinals and always at least impress a little bit, have some good group stage games. Looking to fight back now against G2, who have been one of the pre-tournament favorites, and results have shown them to be quite solid as well, and still in fighting distance here, as Jankos could be found out in his jungle.
All right, let's see if they go for it. Jankos a little bit low on health as well.
Boom! Finds a Tahm, finds Ignite, flashing away to not get hit by the E, though. That is Merc Treads at work, getting just barely away.
That was, again, another flash from ShiauC. So the flashes are actually traded here with the offensive Galio and the defensive Lucian.
Now, there's not a lot of Baron threat on top sides of Betty with the control walls they have, actually looking to combo with Hanabi to find Wunder.
Realmore builds a bit of space as a slow into Wunder. Might not have a way out. Gonna pop the ult. Does not even get it off in time. A shutdown comes through, and Betty on the board with his first.
Huge punish there from Flash Wolves, but now Perkz.
Oh, they might have the damage. You go in on this one. The ult's gonna almost land. Still finds some more poke. A good flag, and gets away, but a turret goes down to the top side. The 1-3-1, the split push. They lost a kill, but they got a turret for it.
Yep, mid lane as well, gonna continue pushing here. Perkz really pumping out the damage on that Ezreal without any kills or assists, has a 300 gold bounty because of the extra CS lead that he has.
Whoa, so aggressive, the flash! What a play out of Rather! Buys a bit of time, but still gets picked up now. Galio finds himself a ton. The burst damage comes through, ShiauC on the board, and now the dunk. This is Flash Wolves coming alive, 7 kills to 3.
Flash Wolves bite back, and the Baron is available. Only Caps and Wunder, the solo lanes of G2, will have anything to say about it. Does he choose his moment?
Looking at Baron, 4 versus 2. This looks very good for Flash Wolves. Smite is up for Bugi. This could be the most important point of this game, fighting back from a 2,000 gold deficit. And the MVPs at G2, Caps and Wunder must do the work.
There's no ultimate for Wunder, so this is gonna be hard.
They're gonna try the dunk going forward towards Hanabi. Really good damage towards the Ryze, staying alive, finds Root, flashing back to the pit. All they do is make Oh no! The smite is early. A kill comes through as well. Make it a second. The solo laners do absolutely everything for G2.
Oh my god, Caps is able to get it. I saw 45 health on the Baron. All right, we'll go back to the path.
Self-ult Flash was so big here. This is no missed sombrero. This was a badass play in mid lane, and Flash Wolves cleanup was huge.
Such a huge outplay there. You know, 4 rather in the mid lane, but then once again at the Baron, that ultimate 43 health left. Caps is able to get it with the AoE, and then look how he survived with sub 3-digit HP. They finish off all of the kills in addition to stealing Baron. The solo laners of G2 just completely rewrite history for the last 5 minutes. That play turning in their favor.
And Caps' first reaction to turn to his jungler and say, this is how you do it. He comes out there, picks it up, and remember, it's a a tale of two steals. The Infernal steal the Flash Wolves got to subvert, not even setting up for a team fight, but the second one for a 1-3-1 comp that wins in the side lanes to also have the Baron. That is usually a game ender.
That was actually ridiculous. It was an ultless Neeko and Caps able to finish off all the kills, get the Baron for their team, and basically just take away that huge outplay that Rather had on Perkz. That was his big moment. Flash Wolves trying to take control of the game, and G2 put a stop to it ever so quickly.
It's good that we had Raz and Dash take us through Sylas. I don't remember the Baron steal point in their walkthrough, but it was pretty dead.
Now he's got a Lucian ult, puts it right back into Betty. He says, I can also tag you. Doesn't look at the true shot barrage either, but push him off the wave for a little bit of time as the cannon keeps plugging away at that one. Top tier 2 already dead. G2 on 6 turret kills, and mid inhibitor already gone as well. Still a minute on this Baron buff, and the bot lane siege going pretty well as Neeko is now splitting on the side, and it's a bit of a 1-0-4. Waiting to knock down yet another turret, and that's going to be number 7. Flash Wolves, by the way, yet to grab an objective that isn't a Drake here. They haven't pushed any of these turrets. It's been full court press the entire time, and G2 have not let up.
Yeah, honestly, that last play just blew the game open in favor of G2. Caps on Sylas has been an absolute monster today. And now G2, with the Baron buff, will continue the siege. Mid inhibitor's already dead. Bottom inhibitor turret soon to follow.
Seems really likely here. Unless you want to burn Shockwave for some wave clear, they can still put the poke down. They still got the pair of cannons. And finally, they're going to back off enough that some spells can come in. There's the ultimate use. It's culling for Betty to try to stop the bleeding. This turret can regen a little bit slowly as mid gets pushed in, so the XP is gained. Now Wunder gets some time as top falls to 75%, and G2 still with 23 seconds on this buff will push for one final turret if they can get it. Flash will sticking around, one more auto attack, and Perkz will give some respect over. Drops to half, this could be the engage, but he gets some damage in. Nice Flash finds a knockup, Galio to follow, and the Flash misses! That could be 2 quick kills, and they will indeed get them that stopwatch. Probably not gonna keep him alive. There's the final kill coming in.
Meanwhile,
But look at the base. Now a dunk, look at a 2v1 for the solos as G2 gets back over the wall. Oh, just barely Hanabi stays alive, but no Nexus turrets will fall. Those kills give a bit of space for Flash Wolves as Caps and Wunder still feel safe inside the opposing base.
Yep, they've been able to take the kills, but G2 have taken the base. 2 inhibitors down, 3 members. G2 actually still keeping up the pressure.
Realm up for disengage, not going to be stopped. Back towards the Raptors, take a little bit more gold. And G2 Esports, look at this, 7,000 gold ahead, and the base of their opponents in absolute shambles.
and the 2 kills definitely serve as band-aids for the wounds that we talked about that were inflicted by the Baron buff steal by G2, but you can see it doesn't really change the pressure. Yes, no further Nexus turrets will be taken now, but they can rinse, repeat, and if those ults don't hit as well as they did last time, G2 know they can continue to push down these base objectives.
They're certainly well equipped to continue to push out both sides here. Super minions are flooding down the map towards the Flash Wolves base, and G2 soon to follow.
And quick pickups of the Raptors as G2 are ready to keep going back out on the map. 80 seconds until Baron spawns. If they want, they can be defensive and wait and just make sure the vision comes down and take Baron number 2 as their way to win the game. This one maybe earned a bit more earnestly, a bit more of a normal way, but they can keep going for the aggression instead. And we look down to the bottom side as Tahm Kench brings a friend as well, as Wunder is here to help this one out, and Hanabi doesn't really have much of a place to go. You've got 4 down there. Wunder grabs the kill, a spree for him. 4-2 and 2 as G2 look to close it out before the Baron even spawns.
Yeah, I don't think Baron will be on the menu today. G2 are going straight for the victory. Bottom lane is the only inhibitor left standing, and that's where they'll start.
47 seconds on the major objective, but the Nexus is in their eyes. The inhibitor gonna be picked up, no problem there. 30 seconds on Ryze, and a 4 versus 5 defense might be required as they walk away from the possible taunt flash. Make sure that one's still safe, and they can keep on moving forwards now. 1 turret a bit healthy, 1 at full HP, but they're also pushing in, waiting for their waves to come in.
And waves are pretty far, 20 seconds, so Hanabi should actually respawn before multiple minion waves crash.
That Cataclysm, though, it might just be that inside the base. No damage from the True Shot Barrage, but still putting in shots towards that turret. 1 more auto, there it goes. Another one left alive, and now watch out for Wunder. Not taunted, not knocked up either. Redemption buys a bit of space. Caps dives in, but he's gonna be knocked down as well. So one kill picked up and a flash away from the Pop Blossom. Keeps the rest of Flash Wolves alive. Looking at a second kill, but nice save by Mikyx. Brings Wunder back out of safety. Here comes Realm Warp though. Looking for a possible re-engage. Lucian's gonna land the Q, but not gonna go in for any much more of this one. 4v5 inside the base. Flash Wolves need to find a way to defend this one and kick back. Getting Orianna out of stopwatch buys a few more seconds, but Jankos certain to be taunted until he can flash away. Safeguards back to his teammate, and they're gonna stay alive now as well. G2 still navigating the 4v5. Mikyx a bit low, but that shield is not gonna get him much of anything. The gray health won't be any HP back in the pool. Still sieging though. 4v5. G2 not gonna be stopped. Hanabi at about 3 HP has to walk away from minion aggro, and the Orianna actually drops down to all the poke. Nice damage out of Neeko, and the siege continues. G2 will not be pushed off of their opponents. Going for a 30-minute victory right here. Looking at 3-1 on the scoreline as a bit of minor wave clears with all that Flash Wolves can do. Still waiting around that last little bit of effort. Another kill coming in for them. Looking at a couple more points in the KDA as Betty has to kite back in. One kill in for the Ryze. Look out for the Nexus, but still some damage coming through. And finally, G2 might just be pushed off the base. A shield, a runaway for Lee Sin. Out they go. Flash Wolves will breathe one sigh of relief, but there is only a single building left inside their base.
A sigh of relief, a gasp, that's about all you can do. They just about bought enough time to get a full reset. As you get closer and closer to the Nexus, you have to group up, and that's where the teamfight comp can try to use their tools. But you could see how impervious G2 were. They have so much sustain and poke that their health bars were dying before they got in range of G2's 4 men.
Yeah, G2 going for the fancy plays at the end, trying to get the extra kills rather than focus on the objectives. And Baron may be back on the menu, Freak, so you may get one more purple buff.
Right,
as
all
all the super minions are going down, and G2 will still have control of the map, so it should be an easy choice for them.
This time G2 grabbed their Infernal. No enemy jungler around to steal it away, and this time Baron, no one anywhere near them on the map. Flash Wolves the other side of this one. And even Tahm Kench says this one doesn't really matter what happens in. There's the pickup. Jankos doesn't need to burn the spike and save it for later. And this is a huge lead for the squad right now as G2 can push in that final little bit of the base.
And your question when you're watching these replays is always, could they have just clicked on the Nexus and ended the game realistically? And that's always something keep in the back of your mind. Wunder definitely missed a couple autos onto the Nexus here, but I think overall, there was enough staying power with Hanabi fighting at the bottom side of the screen in order to keep this game going just a little longer.
All right, well, the time has come. Baron empowered G2. One inhibitor has respawned for the Flash Wolves. Can they rally around that respawn? Because it won't last very long.
It's going to be difficult to wave for this one. The minions nearly impervious to champion damage. Inhibitor knocked down for the 5th time into this, and now one final push. There's the inhibitor engage, flashing into the back line, looking for a kill, and it's going to be the shutdown. 1 for 0 already. Make it a second one, make it a third. G2 just walking over Flash Wolves. You knew it had to happen. They find the ace, the Nexus right in front of them, and G2 3-1 to close out day 2.
Wunder the backline assassin there on the Neeko to clean up the Lucian first, and from there the hearts and the backs of Flash Wolves were broken. This one was all about those 2 steals. The Infernal really gave extra life into the teamfight wombo combo comp that Flash Wolves have drafted, but a 43 health Baron stolen away by that cap Sylas. Don't know how many more Sylas picks he'll get over the course of MSI 2019.
This game had some great moments for both teams.
Yeah.
G2 executing very well early. Jankos on star display here, setting up the solo laners, which is just what they needed for their 1-3 run. Then able to execute it for the majority of the early game until Flash Wolves found their spectacular team fight. Rather with the outplay, flashing in with the Orianna ult to punish Perkz.
Yeah.
But all that can be rewritten with a steal.
Yep. That one was brutal. That definitely took the wind out of the sails. The amount of immediate the gold, the Baron buff power play there was insane, and the 3-lane play was very straightforward.
It's a memory that Bugi's going to keep in his mind for a while, and Flash Wolves fans as well. No jungler opposing him, smited just simply too early by about 50 health. That fight looks different with a Baron buff on the squad, but that is how it shook down. G2, definitely the better team. We've got the Flash Wolves down to 1-3, sadly, but we've got the State Farm analyst desk ready to talk about that game. Take it away, Dash.
Thank you, Freak. 3-1 for G2 Esports at the end of the second day here at MSI Groups, but we have to talk about the solo laners coming from G2 here in the context of this game and some of the games that have preceded this one. They are absolute monsters. Wunder and Caps.
They're the superstars. That's your go-to?
Break.
No! Let's celebrate these guys.
No,
Excellent.
wait.
That's not a celebration, Deficio. Give me something.
Do you need a real LEC caster to take over from here?
Oh
try.
my goodness.
Oh, that's a burn.
The stage is yours.
The fact is that when you have names like Wunder and Caps, these guys can create miracles. They can just win you a game on brand power alone. The outmaneuver mechanically and the hero play, especially when it came down to that Baron moment, completely changed the course of the game. And that's why they are such a threat and so potent in this tournament.
Just rather giving them opportunities to come into this one. So Flash Wolves, it starts off with them playing this one out so well. Sure, it starts out with Perkz making a poor decision to go in there. Tahm, Kench not really getting a heads-up play to be able to say, okay, you jumped in, the Flash comes in, maybe I can eat you up. But then you see this moment, and you're just like, how? Proto Belt to be able to steal Baron.
And then the flash here from Wunder on the flag and
love
drag.
it. Oh.
See ya, nerd.
That's beautiful.
That feels bad, because all the LMS hopefuls, fans out there, this should be your game. Like, out of everything, you finally have an exceptional Rather performance. They get to the Baron buff, and you're like, what?
And it's reminiscent of a game we saw earlier today.
It's true.
Team Liquid getting a team fight win over IG, goes directly to Baron. Guess what's standing between them and the Baron? The solo laners for IG.
Yes.
Another superstar who's able to claw back and have one of those game-winning moments for his squad.
And I feel like this is actually the gap that people will have to transverse. You have to have these X factors, these superstars on your team when you come into a Champions tournament where you have FLICKR, where you have Rookie, where you have the Shy, where you have Wunder, where you have Caps. If you don't have one of those names, that's why you're coming in third. That's why you're coming in fourth. And that's why you're not competing to the top echelon.
Yeah, and that's a really difficult thing now as a team when you're looking towards the games tomorrow, because you can't just get a better mid laner or top laner. You're not allowed to just randomly, make a big roster change and get someone in there or get a player from one of the other teams. You can't. So you have to find other ways to start winning these games here. I think it's very telling that it's the G2 bot lane who dies at this turret, who gets caught out. We saw Jackie die for IG in the TL series, and having to then rely on the superstar mid laners, on these super, super powerful picks like Akali, like Sylas in this case, to actually then keep you in the game or, let's say, stop the Baron from happening and therefore stop the enemy team from coming back. And it's really hard to practice that. It's really hard to make a strategy around it, but it's the kind of star power you must have if you're going to win MSI.
And I want to put some focus onto Wunder here as well, because when Wunder got his Neeko pick, a lot of times there was mistakes being made. Guess what they do? They back up, say we have our win condition, split push, find myself in a side lane. We don't get to see that a lot in this tournament, even from the best of teams. The Shy oftentimes will be like, I can split push, or I can join the fight. But it's Wunder who recognizes that he still has split push over the Ryze in this situation, goes back, and so suddenly Flash was like, I thought we just won the last fight. Why are we still getting pushed in?
I actually love that point, and I think when we keep saying that IG and G2 are the exact same team is disingenuous to the intimate details of where they separate. And one of them is how they play lane assignments, particularly the fact that G2 seem more likely than Invictus Gaming to play towards that side lane versus collapsing. And when we see these teams face, hopefully in a best of 5 at some point in this tournament, I think that's the make or break difference. Who got the collapse? Who played the side lane at the correct moment?
Well, while the superstars here on the stage have been giving us hype plays to get excited about, MasterCard has been putting the best esports fans in the spotlight by surprising fans of the day with official Riot merch throughout MSI. A couple from Ho Chi Minh City was happy to watch their beloved SKT defeat PvB earlier, and along with 2 other Invictus Gaming fans, they received a limited edition Earth plushie. Well, we'll see who will be celebrating after our last game, SKT or IG. That one's coming up soon, but before we get to that match, we'll get some insight from Mikyx, who's standing, or rather joining ShiauC backstage.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm joined here by Mikyx as G2 goes 3-1 in the group stage so far, taking down the Flash Wolves. Watching it looked a bit like you guys were playing fast and loose and a bit random at times. Is that also what it felt like in the game, and why do you think that was?
Yeah, it felt a bit weird because I felt like early game went really well for us. At least on bot lane, we were not supposed to win it early, I think, because we kind of outscale. So I was like pretty confident in the early game, it was pretty nice. But then mid jungle died 2v2, and then top lane died as well. And I was like, yeah, a lot of random stuff happening until, well, we kind of died mid and then went Nash. And then we stole Nash somehow because we have the European, the Shy and Rookie on our mid top, and then just killed them 2v4. And then we kind of won from that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did work out in the end. You are 3-1. How would you say you have been doing in the duo lane together with Perkz? Of course, it's the first time internationally that you guys play together in that lane.
I think lane phase-wise, don't think anyone was that good so far that we played. I think we kind of came out on top in every 2v2 lane. It's just after lane, we do a few hiccups here and there. So yeah, if we fix that, we should be pretty good.
Yeah. Would you say overall it's all about cleaning up mistakes, and are you happy with your level so far?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least, except against IG, it was mostly draft, which also a bit of a error, but I think it should be easily fixable, and I think next time we got him.
Okay, next time you got him. Final question, of course. We are very interested to hear how it's going with your hand, with your wrist. What can you tell us, if at all, about the situation?
I mean, it's definitely a lot better. I can't really feel much pain anymore, so yeah, it's just pretty nice compared to a few months ago, and I think it should be fine for the rest of the tournament and even summer. So.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. That is very positive to hear. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you playing the rest of the games as well. Thank you very much, Mickey. G2 so far, 3-1. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, IG takes on SKT. Don't miss it.
Floppool's gonna get the better of that. Stun comes in, though. Caps wants his fight. Does have the dunk, comes in. Shockwave to follow up, though. And the 2-on-2 continues. Health bar is quite low, though. Caps running out of health. Did they have the damage? He flashes, but he's got the wrong way on the map. And he's gonna drop down as well. The knock's gonna land a double kill.
Because of the extra CS lead that he has.
Whoa, so aggressive, the flash! What a play out of Rather! Ryze gonna bit of time, but still gets picked up now. Galio finds himself a taunt. The burst damage comes through. ShiauC on the board. Gonna try the dunk going forward towards Hanabi. Really good damage towards the Ryze, staying alive. Finds Root, flashing back to the pit. All they do is make Oh no! The smite is early. A kill comes through as well. Make it a second. They find the ace. The Nexus right in front of them in G2, 3-1 to close out day 2.